Hello everyone, and welcome to another beer review. Now we're kind of ramping up some of the beer reviews because we've got lots of beers to get through, and what I've decided to do is from the 20th onwards I'm going to be basically doing a beer review every day from the 20th all the way through to the 1st of January, just to kind of get through some of the beers and just kind of see what's available through the Christmas period. Also, if you've seen in some of the previous videos, but you might not know if you haven't, is we've got two kind of antique kind of bottles of beer to do for the Christmas period. So I'll be doing one which is an Russian Imperial Stout from the Courage Brewery, and that's been done on Christmas Eve. And then we have a Jubilee Ale which goes all the way back to the 1950s. And that's going to be on Christmas Day. I'm still thinking about whether to do it before the Christmas dinner or after. It might be safer to do it before, because if there's any projectile vomiting, there's going to be this ammunition to keep the flow going from that point of view. So this is the plan. But today we're back on the Scottish series because we're going to kind of ramp that up. But we do have some kind of nice, kind of wintry, kind of Christmassy dark beers. Because what I have noticed, I've been going around trying to find Christmas beers. I found one in Sainsbury's. There's nothing absolutely in Tesco's. I've asked the wife to look when she's in Lidl's or Aldi. I went yesterday, funnily enough, to look for a nice Christmas beer and a nice kind of see what selection Morrison's have got. But there was a gas leak, so they actually shut it. So they weren't allowing anybody in the stores because there was a gas leak. And you could really smell the gas. And it wasn't me this time. And that was a bit of a bollocks, so it was. So I'm doing all the kind of the darker beers to try and kind of make them kind of Christmassy, but there is a lack of kind of Christmas. And it was about, last year there was more options available. I'm going to have to look at M&S and all this type of stuff, and Waitrose. I'll have a look at that probably tomorrow. I'll have a look about and see what they've got. But I'll be totally honest, it's all quite lacking just this year. So it's not so good. So what we're doing today is a Belhaven 90 shilling wee heavy. So this hopefully should be a good one. There we go. So it's a Belhaven Brewery, wee heavy, real Scotch ales at 7.4%. So it's no mucking about. It's like, oof, take some of that treacle. There you go. Now, what's written on the back here? Belhaven. Oh, the beautiful harbour nestles. What's this? Belhaven, or the beautiful harbour, nestles among the rolling barley fields of Scotland's beautiful east coast. For 300 years, we have brewed in this place using only the finest ingredients. Well, of course you're going to be using the finest ingredients, because you're never going to tell us, well, we just put any old shit in there, hopefully it works. Because we don't care. We're cheap. Yeah, the stereotype of Scots being cheap. Of course we are. You can have all the piss. Everybody says it's fine ingredients. Regardless of what they're putting in, they're always going to say that. They're never going to turn and say, well, put a load of crap in there. So what's the point in saying it? Because everybody says it. It means nothing. There we go. Continuing that long tradition, this range of speciality beers each has its own unique taste and style. Together they represent the very best of Scottish brewing. Yeah, just like tennis does. Get out of here. But anyway, what do we say? Belhaven's Wee Heavy is a classic strong Scotch ale showcasing the wonderful malted barley native to East Lothian. A rich, dense, complex beer with notes of dried fruit and candied peel. It's like Christmas cake in a glass. Now we're talking, boys. Now we're talking. Now we're getting into the Christmas stuff. Get up, yeah. Ha-ha. Well, that's if it delivers that. If it doesn't, then I'm going to be sitting there looking like a twat thinking, oh, you built this up and it's gone absolutely flat. It's falling on its arse. So hopefully it doesn't. What does it say? So again, obviously, I couldn't get this in Scotland. Of course I couldn't. You know, it's so Scottish, you can't buy it in Scotland. You go to all the supermarkets and you can get Belhaven Wee Heavy. No! But I can buy it from Belhaven. I can buy it from Green King in England. Just order online, no problem. There you go, eh? If you want really good quality brewed Scottish ale, buy it from the English. You see? How's that for your SNP? There's an advert for your SNP, eh? Scottish National Party. Anything good from Scotland? Buy it from the English. Utter bollocks, a whole lot of it. Anyway, let's crack this open and see. Hopefully it's got the balls to match up. There we go. A wee bit of smoke coming off of that, look. Maybe you don't see it by there. So I'm doing this in a small glass because, of course, there's not much in this bottle. We've gone cheap. Look at it, seriously. Imagine me if I'd put that in the big glass. So, look, imagine if I put that in that. Yeah, just to let you know, by the way, it's so good you're only getting 330ml. Same as a can of Coke. Right, there we go. Oh, we've got malts, and we do have some dry fruity flavours. Flute? What the hell am I talking about? I get new teeth. Dry fruit flavours. Yeah. So of course you're getting malt. You get some dark roasted malts there. You get a little bit of sweetness, little hints of sweetness. But yeah, getting slightly dates, slightly plumish. So you are. It has a slight kind of mixed kind of spice type scenario, you know. But yeah, as you can see, it's flat as a witch's tit now, there you go. Which is traditional for Scottish beer, especially heavies, because of course they're not really using the hops, and of course traditionally they didn't use any hops. So this looks bad. You know, it doesn't meet up to the kind of the promoted and advertised and marketed traditional beer, you know, with the beautiful head and all that type of stuff, and lacing the glass and all this type of stuff. Some beers do that, and that's fine. Other beers don't do that because they're not brewed in that way. So let's see what it tastes like. It's a bit of a strange one because the flavours are there, but the alcohol's affecting it again. It's one of these ones that succumbs to, yes, it's a 7.4%, isn't that wonderful, that's great. If you can balance that alcohol out. The problem is though, is if I'm getting ethanol as part of the flavour of the beer, then something's wrong. I mean, the Belgians are very good at doing, obviously, high strength, high alcohol beers. So they can, especially with the triples and quadruples and things like this. And that's fine. And we've had ones that are basically 10% above. But the way they've brewed it and how they've balanced the flavours and everything else, especially with the malts, the alcohol and ethanol doesn't really play a part. And you don't taste it, and you don't really have the effects, you don't have the vapours. It's that kind of mature and experienced brewing that kind of, how you kind of say, is it stops the alcohol, the high alcohol content being a factor in the beer. Unfortunately, this isn't the same. And you get a really strange kind of flavour in the aftertaste. Oh God, no again. Not having much luck with Belhaven. To the point is I'm actually regretting buying all that bloody beer from them, to be totally honest. Because I've not really done very well. From start to finish, Belhaven's been quite disappointing, to be totally honest. It's got plenty of hype. I mean, I'll be totally honest. Their English cousins, Green King, actually do a far better bloody job than actually Belhaven. So you can hype up the Belhaven, East Lothian, right. Let's break down this flavour. Right, you get dark roasted malts at the start, no bitterness, a little hint of sweetness, but just dark roasted malts. And that's it, that's what you're getting at the front of the mouth. Move on to the mid-tongue. You're starting getting little hints of dried fruit, but the problem is you can't really distinguish what the dried fruit is. You can't kind of separate the flavours. It's like it's like a chorus of dried fruit. Imagine you've got a mixed fruit jam, and the way they've done it is, yeah, you know there's more than one flavour, but they're all kind of clashing together and you can't really separate them, and that's what it's like. So you're getting these little dry fruit flavours in the mid-tongue, but you can't really separate them out, so they're just a kind of a mash-up, basically. And you just can't really distinguish what they are, and it's just a bit of a mess in the mid-tongue, to be totally honest. Again, you've still got the kind of the dark roasted kind of malts and little hints of grain and things like that, but the predominant flavour in the mid-tongue is these kind of dry fruit flavours that just don't really kind of deliver it. It's just kind of a mix match that's just not very enjoyable, not very pleasant from that point of view. And then you get onto this aftertaste. Looks like a glass of Coke. Right. Moves on to the aftertaste, and you're starting to get the sweetness is still there. The dry fruit, it's kind of buggered off. It's realised, well, we've made an appearance. We didn't get the kind of response we wanted, so we've now left the building. We've buggered off. We've gone to another venue. So you're left with this kind of like the dark roasted kind of malts and the dark kind of roasted barleys, grains basically. There. So you're getting little accents of that. There's no real kind of bitterness, but what you're doing is you're getting this kind of ethanol vapour, and I don't know, it's reacting with something, the ethanol vapour, and it just gives you this real slightly nasty chemical aftertaste. It's very hard to kind of pin down what this aftertaste is like, because there's a kind of chemicalness to it, and I'm trying to think what it kind of tastes like, but I can say it's not very pleasant. And look at it, it's just, it's like a glass of Coke. I mean, you could be drinking that at school. What are you drinking? Oh, just Coke, sir. Yeah, it's kind of lacking, not very enjoyable. Right, what would I give this out of 10? Why did I start this Scottish series? Because all it is a bloody embarrassment for Scotland. It appears that Scotland can't make a bloody decent beer, to be totally honest. I hope to God, trying some of the other ones, that might kind of prove me wrong, but right now I haven't seen anything or tasted anything that's kind of worth kind of recommending. And this is another one. Out of 10, I'm sorry, but that's just not that great at all. And just some of the flavours are dreadful. What would I give it out of 10? Right, I can't be 5 because it's not an average, because it's below average, because it's just not that pleasant and enjoyable. It's not brewed in a particular good way because the alcohol isn't affecting. It has an effect on the beer and it's playing its part. So that would knock a point off it, at least straight away to the 4. You've got this very kind of slightly chemical, unpleasant aftertaste that's just not enjoyable, so that would take it down to a 3. At least it's got the dry fruit flavours. They're not particularly predominant and you can't really identify them. I won't kind of drag them out of that one, and it's only a 330ml bottle. So I'd say, yeah, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. That's the best I can give it. Just, if you're ever on the Green King website and you see it, don't bother your arse. Just move on, ignore it. In fact, stay out the Belhaven section. Until I found a decent Belhaven beer, my recommendation right now is, if you're on the Green King website, stay out of the Belhaven side of it and just concentrate on the Green King. Because trust me, you'll get a better beer on the Green King side than you will on the Belhaven side right now. That might change. Hopefully it will do. But right now, stay the fuck away from it. Because this is just disappointing. Look at it. So, thanks for watching. Cheers. And bye for now.